All right, got a hotfix here. Let's take a look. What do we got for the hotfix? Fix instance crash. Meta gems will no longer trigger in town areas. Okay, cool. Honestly, I'm okay with that one. It's a very simple situation. We had a couple bug fixes and we got a couple instance crashes, or I guess one. Let's move right along to, okay, patch. We got stash tab. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. This was, as I recall, a big one. Enabled the map stash tab. That is such a simple statement and yet such a massive change. These are general changes and microtransactions, so I'm going to move them to here and then delete them from here. Moved up the bugs and give it a green light. So general changes, what do we got? Enable the map stash tab. See, this right here is exactly what I'm talking. When we look at these guys right here and we criticize and we say, you know, waste of time, you know, or like this was a huge thing. I love that. Whatever take you want to have, here's the question that I pose. Would you rather have that or this? What would you rather have had sooner? Because this came before that, right? This stuff came out, let's take a look here, 1.1D. Let me give that a good rating, 1.1C. So on the 4th of February, 2025, you got those things, those P's. A couple, you know, a week or two later, you got steak. I would say most people would revert those orders. Now, you could argue that the steak takes longer. You could argue that the P's are easier to do. I will argue don't do a single P until the steak is done. That's what I would argue. And when we look at these general changes, we can all remember when the stash tab was added. We can all remember how big of a deal that was when we were able to store, you know, hundreds of waystones, when we were able to enjoy, you know, changing the names of it just massive. And then we got some MTX here. And the MTX, again, the reason we're all here, it's very good for us. All right, got a hot fix. Let's take a look. Fix client crash. Yeah, stash tab UI. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Moving right along. 1.1E. We are now past 3 months from launch. Let's see what we got for the 3-month mark. Okay, we got some fixes. We got some updates. Let's take a look here. Let's put these in general changes and we will do fixing the bugs into the bug fixes. And these guys will delete. So added support for the upcoming Act 3 boss kill races. This is flavor, in my opinion. This isn't steak. This is a seasonal event. This is something to do on the side. This is like, you know, the chef comes out and he's like, hey, I know you paid $30 for half a steak and half mashed potatoes, and I keep messing with the peas and stuff. And I gotta have the bread here. Like the breadsticks gotta keep coming, right? It's just breadsticks all day, every day. But hear me out. What if I brought you a blueberry? Would you like a blueberry? I'll take a blueberry. Personally, I'll take a blueberry. I enjoy blueberries. You may not. Let's just say whatever you like that's tiny and minuscule, they give it to you. They're like, we can't give you more steak right now, but we can give you a blueberry. That's what this is. And I gotta commend and respect that, right? Because at least they're trying, right? This is what it looks like when they don't care and they're not trying. I will take, and I would argue that most people would take a blueberry over replacing peas any day. So we have a blueberry. Excellent. We all love blueberries, or, you know, if you, whatever thing you want to enjoy, that's the thing. Enabled convert racer reward chat command pathway so to race reward item. Okay, right, okay, cool. This is support for that. That's great. Soul cores are no longer able to drop outside the Temple of Chaos. Why is this a P? Why? Because this is a change that didn't need to happen. This is a change that doesn't add anything to the game and provides no lasting improvements to the player experience in lieu of permanent content increase. Now let's break this down. Permanent. Unlike games like Destiny 2, which give you a seasonal update or a new league and a bunch of content and then take it all away at the end, this developer gives you permanent content that stays in the game forever. We love that. That is huge, right? Is this a permanent change? Yes. Okay. Or let's be general. Let's just say maybe worst case scenario, but we'll just agree it probably is. Is it content? Is it a item you can pick up? Is it a weapon you can wield? Is it a player class that you can play the entire run of your playthrough with? Is it a map area you can explore? No. It is that soul cores no longer drop outside of Temple of Chaos. They changed a percentage value to spawn an item from some number to 0. Is it an increase? Does it add something to the game, right? Is it, you know, you're no longer getting killed by invisible on death effects? You know, you could say that that's removing content. I would argue that's adding something to the game. But we can all understand that this is not adding anything to the game. And it sure as shit isn't adding anything of value, because it's not, right, what we've talked about with regards to steak and potatoes. So that is why this is a P. That is why this is a problem. And that is why when we look at these changes, we are being green, red most of the time, because we have to consider that this change occurred instead of meat and potatoes. Added a quick travel button. Thank you. Thank you. That's a great change. That's a massive thing. We are now 57% of a completed game. Congratulations. And we have moved the needle 7% incrementally. The filter and cosmetics panel now hides categories that don't contain your search. Congratulations. Pressing left stick on gamepad will now show items that are hidden in your item filter. Cool. Okay. So again, we have, I struggle to say that this is a positive one, but I recognize that it was. On the whole, I just like to emphasize the reasons why it is not as simple as it seems. Alrighty, take a look at what we've got here. Hotfixes. So hotfixes, we all agree. Good. Let's take a look at the next hotfix. Let's caveat that generally good, as they are most often, you know, bug fixes and aspects of the game that are critical to change at the time, right? They wouldn't have done a bug fix unless it was like, hey, we gotta fix this right now. Blammo. What do we got now? Let's take a look. 86, not bad. 1.1 Foxtrot. All right, let's take a look. Patch notes. Looks like we've got a few bugs, but we've got some changes. So we're going to add this to the general. Fixed a bug, fixed a bug, fixed a bug. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's see what we're looking at here. Added another checkpoint to the Ogden Farms. Added. Excellent. More content. Updated Ember Fusillade skill description to clarify. Good. Skill description. Good. Updated the description. Good. Improved the performance of the Atlas map. Excellent. You are good to go. This is a non-controversial green. Some of those, they're wavering, but like overall, you know, we're doing all right. Let's take a look at these ones. Now this was an interesting one. So let's take a look at this one and then we'll get to the G. The G is a little bit interesting. Fixed a Steam Deck. Okay, so we've got a fix. Perfect. Bug fixes, no issue. Then we've got this one and we're going to take a look here at you. So they add some support and enabled some microtransactions. Okay, good. So we're coming up on 2.0 or 0.20. Let's do, you got a general change here and you got a microtransaction. So let's see what they got. This is a big change, right? So we've got some little stuff that have happened so far, and now we are going to get the first big update. First one, right? So the game came out, bunch of crashes, bunch of instances, bunch of bugs, did a bunch of fixes, bunch of stuff. You know, whether you say that's good or bad, right? You can say good, you can say bad, whatever you want to say, it happened, right? We had the content that we got, and now we are going to get, for the first time, some change. So the 3rd of April, 2025, 0.2.0 launches, and we have, for the first time, a new patch, and a big patch at that. This was a big one. So let's take a look at what we got and go over the content, top to bottom this time. Let's take a look. So we got a table of contents. That's how big this was. We got a new league. So we got a season mechanic. We got content to enjoy for the game. Now, albeit temporary for the season, but permanent for the game moving forward. So what I mean by that is, when this launched, you had a new playable selection of content in the game that was based on the seasonal theme. Now, moving forward after the season ends, that content remains, but the new season theme for the next season kind of, you know, takes the spotlight. So it's not, you know, the seasonal theme anymore. It makes sense. However, the content that was in that season is still present in the game, just not as the seasonal theme. It exists in the world, just not in the same way. It's not as prevalent. It may not spawn as early. It may not be as, you know, ubiquitous throughout all the maps, whatever it might be. And so that is, I think, a very understandable and respectable element, because as we've discussed with other titles in our, you know, in our experience of games, that is not always the case. Imagine, if you will, you play a game and the game has a season and it goes through the length of the season. Instead of going into the game, right? And say we take this off here. We go, you know, hey, this is, instead of all of the games, let's just represent one game. Instead of going into the game, what does it do? It goes nowhere. It vanishes. It becomes dead content. All the work, time, effort, energy, money spent on all of that goes absolutely into the trash can of reality. And there's the lid. Yoink! Wasting all of the developers' time, money, and effort. Yeah. Imagine working at your job job for like 6 months on a project, and then at the end of that 6 months, they just delete it all. That is the most insulting, demoralizing, I mean, egg on your face situation. I mean, really, think about someone cracking open an egg and throwing it in your face. That's what happens in other games. What do we get in Path of Exile 2? We get the content, and we get to keep the content. The developer's work does not go to waste. It is not an insult to both, creator and an enjoyer. It is an amazing thing that this doesn't happen more often. I can't even imagine playing Destiny 2 and being like, because I played a lot of Destiny 1. I can't even imagine playing that game and being like, yeah, so all these gear and this new fun content and these stories and these dialogue and like the voice, like everything. And just like, yeah, so hey, that's gone now forever. What? Oh yeah, you paid for this? No, you didn't. We let you download this thing? No, it's gone now. Yeah, sorry. Actually, not sorry. Yeah, here's an egg. Okay, all right. That's what happens in other games. That's not what happened in this game. Fantastic. Alrighty, and with that, we have come to the end of the video. Like the video or dislike it. If you agree or disagree, let me know why in the comments. This video is going to take quite a while to finish, and will be definitely broken up into many parts. So make sure to check out the other ones if you haven't already. I will theoretically be streaming at some point. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, Aramorian signing off.